Good morning, my name is Elizabeth Mortimer, and I'd like to speak to you today about vehicle restraint safety for children. Would anyone here, or at all that we know, any rational person, let a child cross this street or any street by themselves? No, we wouldn't. It's almost unfathomable that anybody would. But in essence, that is what happens to children when they're unrestrained in an automobile accident. They're often ejected through windshields and they're sent across roadways. This is a child that was ejected from an automobile and ended up on a roadway. While the image you have just seen may be shocking, it is a possibility that you, unfortunately yourself, may see this one day. According to the results of my audience survey, 30% of you witnessed children passengers unrestrained by vehicles at least once a month. 40% of you responded that you see this almost daily. So that's how high your odds are of seeing this one time in your life at least. Today, you will learn about the unfortunate and many times preventable incidences of childhood mortality occurring in vehicle accidents where the child was not properly restrained, have an understanding of the guidelines regarding proper use of child vehicle restraints, and leave with an overwhelming sense that there needs to be tougher enforcement and penalties to prevent future injuries and death to our children. Now we're going to take a closer look at the occurrences of vehicle accidents that unnecessarily claim a child's life. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, vehicle accidents are the leading cause of death among children ages birth to 12. During 2011 to 2012, a total of 9,182 children aged birth to 12 died in motor vehicle crashes in the United States alone. Of the children ages 12 years and younger who died in a crash, 38% of them were not buckled up. If a vehicle traveling at 40 miles per hour comes to a sudden stop due to a crash, the passengers inside the vehicle remain moving at 40 miles per hour. This is called inertia. This is why even with seatbelt restraints, people incur injuries, because they are moving at 40 miles per hour and being restrained by the seatbelt. And their seatbelt keeps them from their body from continuing at that speed and their organs. This may sometimes result in injuries ranging from bruises to lacerations and even internal injuries. Two children, ages 2 and 4, are depicted in this photo from 2012 online edition of the Odessa American newspaper in Texas. They were not in their car seats. They weren't even wearing seatbelts, though there were car seats in this vehicle. Like the rules of inertia I just mentioned, these children, along with their car seats that were in the vehicle, were ejected from the automobile and went 30 feet from the vehicle. Miraculously, they lived. One CDC study published in a 2015 article in the journal Medline found that in 1 year, more than 618,000 children from ages birth to 12 rode in vehicles without the use of a safety seat or booster seat or seatbelt at least some of the time. These statistics demonstrate how often our children's lives are gambled with. A few weeks ago on my way to work, I came upon an accident scene that had just happened and I pulled off to offer my assistance. The occupants were two children, ages 6 and 8, that were traveling with their grandparents. The grandparents spoke very little English, and the 8-year-old mediated between us as a translator. The first question I asked was if anyone was injured, and they each complained of common areas, their heads and their knees. My next question was whether or not they were wearing seatbelts. When the young boy relayed this question to his grandparents, it was very obvious to me that they had told him to say that they were wearing seatbelts, but they obviously weren't. I then had to explain to them that it was important to know if they were wearing seatbelts to best assess their injuries and then treat them, and that it was more important than worried about getting in trouble for not complying with seatbelt usage. Thankfully, this accident occurred at a very low rate of speed, and their injuries only consisted of bruising. With a higher rate of speed, there may have been a much different outcome, and I hope that they are now more vigilant about seatbelt use. You've just heard about the tragic statistics regarding lack of vehicle restraint usage. Now I'm going to share with you the importance of following the proper vehicle restraint guidelines. The results of my survey reflected that 1/3 of you were unsure if placing infants in a rear-facing car seat was imperative. This is 11-month-old Cameron Beck. And this was posted on Facebook by his mother, him in his seatbelt. It's adorable. Sadly, this photo went from a proud Facebook posting to NBC's Today Show website that relayed the following picture and story in December of 2014. This is Cameron 2 weeks after that other photo was taken. He had a severe head injury, broken ribs, a punctured lung, and spleen. As you saw in the previous photo, Cameron's mother did use a car seat with every intention of keeping her child safe. What you may not have noted initially was Cameron's age in correlation to the car seat. Cameron's 11 months old and he's in a forward-facing seat in this photo. And he should have still been in a rear-facing seat that is designed specifically to best protect a child from birth to 2 years old and even up to 3 years old at times, depending upon their weight and height. Besides not facing the right way in the right car seat at the time of the accident, only the chest buckle was secured on Cameron's car seat. According to the guidelines in this graphic from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's website, Safe Kids Central, it is safest to keep a child in a rear-facing car seat until age 2. There are overlaps on this because of height and weight requirements, and there are different car seats, and there are ones that are convertible ones that last a little bit longer through a higher age. A forward-facing car seat best protects a child over age 2 that meets the height and weight requirements specific to that seat. Booster seats are to be used until a child reaches the height of 4 foot and 9 inches. No, I'm 4'11" and would not need a booster seat, by the way. Even if that height is reached and a booster seat is no longer required, the safest place for children is in a seatbelt and in the back seat of the car always. The use and proper installation for child safety vehicle seats can be difficult at times, but there is help available. In the county of Bucks alone, I've looked it up, and certified car seat technicians are available to educate and assist parents with proper use and installation of their car seats. According to the official website of Bucks County, car seat checkups are held at 3 locations each month throughout the county. A special program is also available that provides free car seats to families who financially qualify. If you or someone you know of is in need of a free car seat or would like more information on that, I do have the phone number available with me. Now that I've shown you the gravity of the situation regarding death and injury from non-use, as well as the proper guidelines for using child vehicle safety seats, and I know from my survey that all of you agree with me on the importance of child vehicle restraints, I'd like to inform you of the current regulations and penalties in Pennsylvania and why I feel the enforcement and penalties needs to be higher. Based on a National Highway Traffic Safety Administration calculations, an estimated 3,308 lives were saved by child safety seat use among children birth to 4 years old during 2002 to 2011. If child safety seats had been used in motor vehicles 100% of the time for children birth to age 4, an additional 837 lives would have been saved. A direct link exists between adult driver seatbelt usage and their juvenile passengers being properly restrained. Almost a case of monkey see, monkey do. According to a March 2010 article in the journal Accident Analysis and Prevention, 6% of children riding with restrained adult drivers were evaluated in emergency departments, compared to 22% of children riding with unrestrained adult drivers. So obviously you can see the correlation here. If the driver was restrained, the child was more than likely to be restrained. Although it is a primary offense in Pennsylvania, allowing an officer to pull over a vehicle if a child is not restrained, it is a secondary offense that an officer cannot solely pull an adult driver over for. Given that the trend of child seatbelt use follows the use of the adult, I think that if you're operating a vehicle without a seatbelt on while transporting children, you should be able to be pulled over and given a warning, and if not, fined. The fine in Pennsylvania for not using a child vehicle restraint for a child age 7 and younger is $75. For ages 8 through 18, it is $10. This fine can be waived at the discretion of the court if proof of acquiring the required vehicle restraint and using it is given before or on the scheduled court date. Studies have shown that when the fines increase, the compliance rates increase. I could not find any data regarding jail time in Pennsylvania for second and third offenses based solely on a child restraint citation being the primary offense. Personally, I believe that in some first offenses and definitely for subsequent offenses, it should be considered child endangerment and/or neglect. Today you have heard about the tragic instances of unavoidable death and injury to children due to the unavoidable death and injury to children due to the lack of child vehicle restraints. Been made aware of the guidelines and resources available to ensure proper child vehicle restraint usage, and have heard about the laws and penalties for non-compliance. It is my hope that with this knowledge, you feel compelled to help ensure the safety of children in your care, to tactfully voice your knowledge to others to promote safety of their children, and to support the need for stiffer penalties and broader enforcement guidelines by asking your state representatives for legislation that would allow it. Whether it's an infant in a rear-facing seat, a toddler in a forward-facing seat, an older child in a booster seat, or seatbelt usage for a child average age 13 or older and an adult, I think it should be supported. Click It or Ticket was a great campaign in the 90s, but I don't think we need something that's catchy and friendly. To get the message across, we need to look at it for exactly what it is: car seat or coffin. Thank you.